Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today for you guys is another movie review. Today we're tackling the new DC film, or the DCEU, or the DC Extended Universe, or Worlds of DC, whatever you want to call it. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. I think I got that right. So yeah, I came into this movie a little nervous because I'm like, okay, is this movie going to essentially be a good film, or is it going to cater to the, and I hate this word, but woke audience? You know, let me just say, put it out there right now that I am old-fashioned in a lot of ways. That's just who I am. And I don't like certain things being shoved down my throat in franchises and movies. I can name 15 of them, but to not start World War VIII or whatever in the comments, I do not want to do that. I just don't care. If you think something, I don't care. That's just me. I'm old-fashioned that way. You could probably get what I'm going at here. So was this movie going to be white men suck and women are amazing? Women are just the best thing ever. No, for the most part. Me personally, I think men and women are equal. In not every way, but in most ways. You know, but when it comes to franchises, a lot of people look at Birds of Prey and they go, "Oh, it's a female-led cast and the bad guy's a dude." Sort of. That is very bad. And then I'm like, well, no, it's not, because I'm a comic fan. If you guys are comic fans too, DC fans, you know, the Birds of Prey has been a thing for a very long time, and it's a great thing. You know, this is kind of like the Gotham City Sirens movie we were going to get, apparently. So you have people like Black Canary, who, you know, if you like Green Arrow, Harley Quinn, duh. You've got, you know, just so many people in this movie that's kind of hard to name. But they all are great characters, and they're all in the DC universe, and they all have their place. So is this movie woke, so to speak? Is it just women are great and men are evil? No. Because it was like that originally in the comics. If this was a new thing, a lot of people would look at it differently. But for the most part, I think, in my opinion, again, I don't care, you know. The Last Jedi's woke. No, it's not. You're just weird, you know. All of these things, it really deals onto the person. But because Birds of Prey is something that happened a long time ago in the comics, it really should not have an issue for anyone. So because of this film being, yeah, it's a bunch of girls. They form a team, take out Black Mask, Roman Sionis, whatever. They say Sionis in the film, but I say Sionis, whatever. It's a great thing, and it's a great cast. You know, going to the actors, you know, everyone does a great job. Margot Robbie is, of course, amazing as Harley Quinn. She gets the hotness down. She gets the badassness down. She gets the deadly down. She gets the funny down. She gets everything that we think about Harley Quinn, all these different attributes. She does great. And she was great in Suicide Squad. She had one little role in the Lego Movie 2, the second part, saying something about a suicide mission. But this is not a direct sequel to Suicide Squad. However, it addresses Suicide Squad, and this is the next big thing. This is the first R-rated movie in the DC Extended Universe, or Worlds of DC. Now, technically, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice was rated R in the deluxe edition, whatever, but I'm talking theatrical release here, and for the most part, Birds of Prey was the first one. Now, this is where it gets confusing, because the DCEU is already in shambles, as you guys know. Really fast before I keep reviewing. This is a very important thing. With the Batman coming up with Robert Pattinson, and Wonder Woman 1984, and Aquaman 2, apparently, whatever Mara's doing with that, with Johnny Depp, I don't care about that, but, you know, something's happening. I hope she's not, because I think she was a good character. But the DCU is really, really effed up, because they got rid of Ben Affleck Batman, and say what you want about him, he's my favorite Batman. You know, he's a great Batman. But they got rid of Henry Cavill Superman, because, you know, why not? They got rid of Jared Leto Joker. Now, here's my next thing. Jared Leto Joker. Let me come right out and say that Jared Leto Joker is not my favorite Joker. However, he's my third favorite Joker. It would go Joaquin Phoenix, Heath Ledger, Jared Leto. I think the main reason why everyone hates Jared Leto in Suicide Squad is because he didn't have enough screen time. He really is the most comic-accurate version of the Joker. You can't argue that. If you read comic books and you're a true comic book DC fan, you know, Heath Ledger's great, but he's just a terrorist. Joaquin Phoenix is great, but he's just a dude. Jared Leto is a friggin' gangster. You know, he's a pimped up motherfucker, you know? So that really does fit toward some aspects of the Joker in the comics. And I thought he was great. I really wanted to see more of Jared Leto Joker, and of course now he's Morbius in the Marvel films. But he is mentioned in this movie, no spoilers, but he is mentioned and he is shown for one little second. You just see his face, like the back of his face. But going back to that, this was what I was really worried about. The woman and men hate thing, we already discussed that. And then the second one, Jared Leto Joker, because we know that he's not in the DCEU anymore, so I guess. Please come back, though. I thought it was great. However, this whole thing of, oh, how are we going to mention him without actually, showing him, so to speak? And they did show him for a second, but with, I was nervous because I'm like, okay, this movie is about the emancipation of Harley Quinn, right? How Harley Quinn deals from the breakup of Joker and how she moves on from that. And really, they do that in a great, funny, and comical, that's the same thing, but, great way, obviously. But going forward with Joker, I do think that they could have done it a little better, but at the same time, it wasn't downright, F you Joker, because think about it. What's the main reason why Jared Leto Joker is not in Birds of Prey? The big sore thumb reason is that because the mass media hated Jared Leto Joker. That's the only reason. And it works into the plot well, I will say that. However, the main reason why he's not in this movie is because everyone bitched and said, oh, he's a bad Joker, he sucks. And you can have your opinions, but when the whole internet is saying this guy blows hard, then DC goes, oh yeah, you suck, you need to get the heck out of here, And that's just bad, because I love Jared Leto Joker. I think he's a great version of Joker. And, for them to just write him out, oh, well, everyone hates him, so we'll just write him out of the script, just like Cars 2. Oh, everyone hated Cars 2, so we'll just, write him out of the script, same thing. But they do it in an okay way, so I really don't have any big complaints there, but still, it is what it is. Going forward let's go to the bad guys. We have Roman Sionis, and Victor Zsasz. Now, this movie is rated R, and it is a very apparent R. It's not as brutal as, say, I don't know, Deadpool or Logan or Kingsman, anything like that. However, it is pretty effed up in a few scenes. But here's the biggest complaint with that. It's rated R. This movie did not need to be rated R. Some movies, you feel like they should, right? Venom should have been R. But PG-13, I had no issues with it. I loved it. Deadpool should have been R. Deadpool 1 and 2 is R. Once Upon a Deadpool is a PG-13 tale of Deadpool 2, and I loved it. In fact, I love the PG-13 version more than the R version. Certain movies, you don't need to be rated R, and certain movies, you do. And this movie, you didn't need it to be rated R. So all the gore and the F-words and, all this stuff, it didn't need to be there. However, I'm not docking a point because it's there. I'm not one of those weird snowflakes that goes, oh, F-words, worst movie ever. It's just a word, I don't care. But, and all the gore is fake anyway. But, with regards to, see, it's hard to mention, because you go to, this R-rating film all of a sudden, it doesn't make sense in this universe. Because you have Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, I don't know, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Shazam. I'm probably missing another one in there, but there's a bunch of them. And this one's R, and it's like, why? You know what I mean? Because now it's more confusing, because the DC movies are already confusing as hell. You have, Ben Affleck leaving, Henry Cavill leaving, Jared Leto leaving, possibly Mara leaving, and then you're keeping Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Shazam, Harley Quinn, all these guys, and it's just the most confusing freaking thing in the world, and I don't like it. I can deal with, okay, we went from Christian Bale to Ben Affleck, but in the same universe, for me to get Robert Pattinson as Batman, you already have a freaking Batman. It's Ben Affleck, so it won't work, So I hope they deal with that with coming out next year. But I do think this R-rated movie works, but it didn't need to happen, and it really makes this whole DCEU film timeline really convoluted. Because it's like, oh, why wasn't there gore in that movie or F-words in that movie? How come Harley didn't say fuck every 2 minutes in Suicide Squad? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's really confusing, and you're like, why did that have to be that way? So it's not bad that it's rated R, but it didn't have to be, and it just makes things more confusing. However, Harley Quinn is a character that deserves to be rated R. Now, I love her in Suicide Squad. She's everything I wanted Harley Quinn to be live action in PG-13, but in R rating, she's that, but like on cocaine and acid and everything. What I mean? It's just like she pumped like Harley Quinn steroids, like Black Ops 4, just boom, because it really works. There are a lot of F-words, and there is some gore. There's one really jacked up scene. All I'm going to say is if you know who Victor Zsasz is and what he does, holy crap, you're getting some Saw shit right here, because that's crazy. Going to Roman Sionis, played by Ewan McGregor, of course, hello there, Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's who he plays. He was also Danny in the Shining sequel, whatever that was called, I didn't see it. I just can't forget the name. But he is a good Roman Sionis. However, there's one character attribute that I personally don't agree with. Again, that's me going back to my very old fashion. But I'm not going to tell you what that is. I think you can figure that out. I just don't want to start a war in the comments. let me just say he's not like that in the comic books, and neither is Zsasz. However, it didn't break the character, and there's only 1 or 2 scenes where, me personally, I was like, okay, that doesn't feel right for that character. But he's still a good character. He's a great actor, and when he put on the black mask, dude, I freaked out because it was as soon as he put the black mask on, I was like, oh, this is great, you know. It's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but Victor Zsasz, I didn't care about him. He's a good villain, I guess. He does some pretty messed up stuff, but Roman Sionis is really the big bad guy of this movie. I'm not going to tell you what happens to him, or if he's back, or if he's dead, or if he's, you know, going to come back for 15 sequels. You'll find that out when you watch it. And there is an after-credit scene. It's a very poor after-credit scene, but it's an after-credit scene. So hardcore DC fans, still stay in your seats. You know, it's just not good, but it's still a thing. But like I said, the action is great. Apparently, the guy who did the action is John Wick. So really, the face value stuff here is good. You have the great action. You have awesome comedy. This really is the DC version of Deadpool. Harley Quinn breaks the fourth wall. She talks to the audience. She narrates over things. She goes back in time and you hear like rewind noises. It's all very much Deadpool. And it's not really original because Deadpool did it first, but Harley Quinn is the same type of character as Deadpool, so I'm going to allow it because that's her character. So, like I said, action, great. Comedy, great. It wasn't the funniest movie ever, and it's not trying to be a comedy, but there are some things that are pretty funny. I laughed out loud a few times, and I smirked a few times. Character development is great, especially for Harley Quinn. A lot of people say this movie drags in the middle. I don't think so, because movies dragging is how you get character development, so that when stuff happens to the character, and stuff happens later, you will care. I cared when something happened to that character. Now, like I said, action. Let's see here. The CGI is good. However, Bruce, named after Bruce Wayne, the hyena does not look good at all. It's very, very poorly rendered. It looks very blurry and stretchy. There's one scene when Harley goes like this and rubs his mane, his face, you know, and it looks really, really damn good. And I'm like, oh, how are you doing that? You know, because I can't even talk. Most of the time when you try to hug or touch a CGI character, it looks kind of weird. Not terrible, but it looks odd. It didn't look odd. It just looked like she was petting a friggin' hyena. So I don't know if they got like a real hyena for that. I don't know. It was CGI for the most part, and it didn't look good, but that's really it. You know, the CGI blood, it's going to look as good as any other R-rated film ever, or PG-13 movie with blood, anything, you know. Blood is blood. However, so encompassing all the positives, we have a great action. We have CGI, that's more of the bad. We have great character development. We have great acting. We have pretty funny script. We have an okay villain. And then, of course, we get to the negative. Now, this is not my least favorite DCEU movie, and it's definitely not my favorite. However, I'd have to say that and I know I'm going to get hate for this, but my least favorite DCEU movie so far is Wonder Woman. And I can explain that in another video, but I'm reviewing Birds of Prey. Shazam is my second least favorite. I know a lot of people, most of my friends, freaking adore Shazam. I just thought Shazam was more of a family comedy than an action movie. It didn't really... Basically, the two biggest issues with Wonder Woman and Shazam, really bluntly for me, is that those characters didn't feel like how they should feel. And Harley Quinn feels like Harley Quinn in this movie. She is, you know, perfect. She's everything that you'd want from that character. But there are a few scenes where, you know, the wokeness shines, where they sing some songs about how evil men are and, you know, all that. It's not too bad, because I'm not looking for it. I'm not looking for that. I'm not one of those people. But it is sort of apparent, you know, not necessarily the girls teaming up against the male, but there's a few signs in there where it's a little bit, you know, or Roman Sionis acts a certain way, and that's, you know, there because of other, I can't say this without pissing people off, but other people feel certain ways about other people. I don't. I'm a certain way. Other people are a different way. It's the way you rock the boat, I guess, and they have to not necessarily pander, but include them, and to me it just feels weird. But other than that, I do think that, honestly, like I said, Roman's a great character. Ewan McGregor's a great actor. He's actually Irish in real life, which is kind of funny. So he sounds like us, and then, he sounds more British, and then in this movie he's like, who's having a good time? You know, it's so weird. So he's kind of a voice guy like me. But still, I think the worst detriment to this movie would be the R rating, because it doesn't make sense. And, of course, the tone of this movie. The tone is very silly. You have Harley Quinn talking to you. You have bright colors everywhere, kind of like Lego DC supervillains. There's just bright colors everywhere. It's supposed to be this very light and kind of sort of comedic movie. But then you have a really brutal scene with Zsasz, and then you have F-words, and then there are a lot of action scenes, and this is what I don't get. There's only one brutal scene in this whole movie. The other R-rated violence. It's just your typical beat 'em up, kicking and punching and stabbing. You know, it's not. It's PG-13 action with a little bit of blood. That's about it. It's not that bad. But it's just something feels off with that, you know, because it is rated R. But my other thing would be, of course, like I said, the tone. They're trying to be silly at times, and it definitely shines, and it works best when it is silly. But then you have these character moments with, you know, Montoya, the cop, who's very much a serious character. You have Huntress, who's a very serious character. You see her backstory in this movie. A lot of these, Black Canary, a lot of these characters have very serious motives, including Harley Quinn for the most part. But toward the third act, when you get the final battle and they're all beating people up, you see in the trailer in the funhouse, it's a great scene. However, there's two things wrong with it. One, the tone. You have Black Canary the whole movie, I'm not going to spoil it, but being very down in the dumps, and then all of a sudden she's like, I'm making jokes, and I'm funny, and I'm, you know, teaming up, and it just, tone-wise, it doesn't make sense. And I know it's a DC movie, but it's still a movie, and, you know, the Avengers 1 worked because they hated each other, and they grew to like each other over this time. Same thing here, but it's just something feels off, you know? You have this character who's, she kind of hates everyone else, but she's also hating herself, and she's acting a certain way. And then toward the end, she's all happy-go-lucky and beating people up and acting like a badass, and it doesn't work. It looks cool, but it doesn't work. Like Hellboy 2019. I love Hellboy 2019, but there's a scene in the end, it doesn't work. You know, where they all team up and there's an awesome action scene and set to music. It doesn't work. And the other thing would be, you know, this is just, I guess, me, but I know it's a DC film, but you have Superman, who's got, like, godlike powers. You got Batman. You got freaking Aquaman. And then you have Harley Quinn. She's got a baseball bat and a gun. You got Black Canary. She can scream. Okay, that's kind of cool. You've got Huntress with a crossbow. That's pretty dope. But there's no way in hell these girls are going to take on 55 guys that are, like, bigger than the Empire State Building in one hit to the, you know, one kick to the shin or something. I know, it's an action movie, and it's a DC movie, but you still have to keep realistic here. And don't tell, oh, well, Superman's not realistic. No, but when Superman fights Doomsday, they're not going like this. They're beating the crap out of each other through buildings. Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey are strong superheroes and villains to an extent, but they wouldn't beat a normal dude. You know what I'm saying? And that's not me being sexist or weird. It's just the truth. You have a girl with a baseball bat against a guy with a gun, and he's like, you know, the freaking Mr. Clean guy. You're not going to hit him, you know, dead. You know, it's not. So it's a little bit cheesy in that regard. It's just, like I said, because you have Batman fighting Steppenwolf, that works, because it's like two gods fighting each other. And then you have just a normal dude fighting a normal girl. Chances are the huge dude is going to beat the girl with a little baseball bat. But it is what it is. The action scenes look pretty damn good, I gotta say. I'm really, really liking the action scenes. Again, they can be a little corny at times, a little bit, okay, that wouldn't work in real life. But, again, it's a DC movie. But those are my really only two negatives. The tone is a bit strange, and some of the action scenes are a little too far-fetched, because you just have normal people fighting. If Harley Quinn was, like, jacked up on some, like, you know, weird thing, or if it was just Black Canary, you know, like, there's a scene when she goes, ah! And she flips out, and all these dudes, you know, go flying. That works, because you have a superhero power against normal people. When you just have a normal group of girls against a normal group of dudes, and the dudes just get, like, destroyed in, like, 1 second, it just, I don't know, something about that just seems off. I know women can fight, and I know women can beat men in combat. That's not what I'm saying, so don't get all weird with me here. But I am just saying that, you know, there's like 50 dudes with a gun and her with a baseball bat. You know, who's going to win there, really? But still, like I said, it's the movie about the Birds of Prey. It's a female cast, and they are badass. You know, they are really cool. They have great powers. They have great character traits. So overall, this is not my favorite DCEU movie, but this is not my least favorite either. My only issues would be the tone, and the fight scenes can be a little bit far-fetched at times, because, again, you're dealing with normal people fighting, not like, you know, gods and monsters. But still, overall, it's a funny movie. It's self-referential. It's very, very, like I said, very comedic. Like I said, the tone sometimes doesn't work, but overall, the actors are great. The action's great. I hope they do more with this cast. I really hope to see more of Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn. Maybe we'll see Poison Ivy. Who knows? The DCEU is expanding, but when it expands, it also gets more convoluted. So we'll have to see what happens with Robert Pattinson's Batman and Aquaman 2 and Wonder Woman 1984. All this good stuff. If you're a DC fan, it's a great time to be one. But it's a bit of a confusing time to be one, too. So anyway, I'm going to give Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, I got that right again, I'm going to give it, let's see here, with the tone and the, let's see, I'll give it a B+. How about that? Like I said, the biggest issues with Wonder Woman and Shazam was that I didn't feel like that was a good representation of the character. This movie nailed it with all the characters. Harley Quinn is crazy, sexy, funny, you know, really, really jacked up at times, you know, really messed up. Overall, I think she does the right thing in the end. If you've seen Suicide Squad, you'll know where this is going to go. But still, great movie. I would see it again in theaters, and I definitely will be buying it on Blu-ray again. B+. I really enjoyed it. Please tell me what you thought about Birds of Prey without spoiling it. Again, sorry if this was a little bit long, but I had to address the DCU in general plus this movie. But overall, like I said, great movie. A few hiccups there, but I definitely rewatch it again, and I think Margot Robbie is the one to play Harley Quinn. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.